Hey, welcome everyone to Health Coach TV. I'm Dr. Shaunna Menard, and we are excited to introduce you to Rachel Borntrager. Hey, Rachel, how are you?
I am fabulous. Thank you.
We're going to have a fun day today. So if you're joining us, we're going to be talking with health coach, and I'm going to give her a proper introduction in a moment, Rachel Borntrager, on how to avoid the quarantine 15. So not only how do you stay lean or get lean, but how can you boost your immune system, improve your gut health. We're going to be talking a lot about gut health. The gut is kind of that gateway to your system. We'll talk about stress response. We'll talk about all of those things. So as you're joining us, just say hi. We'd love to acknowledge you. And also let us know where you're joining us from. So in the comments, feel free to put what city, country that you're in. We'd love to hear from you. And then if you have questions, I'll do my best here to take a moment every once in a while to see my other screen in case there's questions, and we'll do our best to capture those. So we see Gail already, so I just want to shout out to Gail in Maine. So, all right, so without further ado, first of all, I want to do a disclaimer. Although I am a medical doctor, I'm not your medical doctor, so you'll always want to consult with your own healthcare provider about what is right for you. But it is absolutely true that we are what we eat, and we do have a lot of control over our own health, and there's lots of things that we can do to both soothe our mood and boost our immune system and improve our gut health. So we're going to talk about some of those things today. So let me introduce our guest. So Rachel Borntrager is a board-certified holistic health coach. She specializes in weight loss through gut health, following her own 70-pound weight loss success story, which is fantastic. She's got a really great story. You're going to love it. She is a mom of 5 kids, and they're all home right now, and she's having to homeschool them. You got to feel for this woman. She has been married to her husband for 15 years. She lives in Raymond, Montana, with not only her 5 kids, but 2 dogs and 15 chickens and 10 baby chicks. She's got a whole herd that she is in charge of there. So no doubt some extra little bit of stress that is happening her way. And she has worked as an X-ray tech and has worked at Sheridan Memorial Hospital for over 20 years. So please welcome Rachel Borntrager.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here.
Awesome, Rachel. Okay, now let me just check. I'm going to just see if on my screen here, it looks like we're frozen. Oh, there we go. Nope, we're coming in. Okay, just making sure. Okay, so tell us a little bit about you, Rachel. Like, what is it that you do now? What kind of work do you do? And like anything you want to share just about this time and about how important this work is.
Yeah. So my passion is busy moms, because clearly I am one of them. And I just want to help every busy mom that wants to lose weight, get a healthy gut so that they have energy to enjoy life. And right now is a perfect time because we're all at home. We can take that time for us. If we choose, we can always fill our time with whatever. So I feel like it's such a good time to spend time on us right now. We're given this time to be home and just focus on what is important to us.
Yeah. It is an adjustment. Whoops. It is an adjustment for sure for most people. Like almost everybody's had their world adjusted, and so when we're stressed, we can like emotional eat and stress eat. Sometimes it's not so great. It's interesting. My son, many of you know, it's kind of a standing joke that I always say, what do you get when you deprive your kids of flour and sugar? And you get a pastry chef son. So that's one of my sons is an aspiring pastry chef. His school is on hold, but he works at the local market in the bakery. And their sales in the bakery are up 10 times. They're selling 10 times as much as they would have before. So I think people are obviously not eating out as much, home more, but the baked goods is that comfort food, and people are going there and like literally 10 times as much, and in our little store. And so I thought that was a really interesting thing. So no doubt people's food has probably changed from what it was. Might be worse, might be better. They're probably more sedentary. Might be worse, might be better, but there's definitely been a change. So you are someone who is an expert in this area. So tell us back, take us back to some of your story, Rachel. How did this all start for you? Like, what had you get into this line of work? How did your 70-pound weight loss story start? Tell us a little bit about how you were feeling, what happened, what life was like for you.
Oh yeah, seriously, it was about 4 years ago. Situations in my life happened in our family where we adopted 2 children. So taking those 2 children on, working in radiology, it was, some of those kids didn't know what it was like to be on call and to be busy and stuff like that. So I stepped back from the hospital and I decided to start taking care of myself. I remember one morning so vividly. It was in the bedroom. I had seriously been trying on all these different clothes and I was like, nothing fit anymore. And I was like, where is the missing link? Because clearly I'm busy. I'm working all the time. I thought I was eating well. But stress is a big deal. And working all the time, even though you're eating what you're eating, sometimes is not always the best thing for your body. And it was at that point where I had to make a decision to lose some weight, be a better role model for my kids. And that year is when I went on to lose that 70 pounds.
Wow. And so that's an incredible story. It seems like when we switch back our Zooms, there's a little feedback. I'm not sure if other people are getting that. I'll try and step back from the mic. So I think, shout out if you are somebody, as you're listening to this, can you relate to that closet moment? I know the stack of clothes, the puddle of tears, the frustration that your clothes don't fit. It's and knowing that you're doing your best, you're trying really hard, you're not lazy. So what is going on? And if I'm so stressed, what is happening? And I think stress is, I too noticed that. I had a series of family deaths in a very short amount of time. And even though I had been still eating healthy, that stress is real. And stress increases that cortisol, it increases that belly fat. And I think right now there's a lot of people who are under a lot of extra stress. And they're like, what the heck? Why am I not able to contain this? And what do I do? And I think wanting to be a good role model for your kids, that was me too. I wanted to keep up with them. I wanted to have the energy to keep up with them. I was getting winded on the soccer field when they were little. And I'm like, well, this is not the kind of mom I want to be. I want to be better than that. And I think, the other thing I noticed was the role of mood and energy with food. So it wasn't just about, sure, put on a stretchy pair of pants and put on a bigger shirt, whatever. But it wasn't just the weight. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? How when you are overweight, or at least there is such a thing as the skinny obese. So when you have your eating habits and your stress is high, your eating habits are not great and your stress is high, what are some of the ripple effects that you see in your ability to cope and manage and mood and any of those things?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things to talk about that, but I'm going to pick out the microbiome in your gut. When your microbiome is disrupted because of stress, because of antibiotic, because of mood, and if you hear my kids, I apologize already.
It's just the times we're living in right now. There's not much you can do. You have 5 of them. You had no hope.
Yeah. So going back to the microbiome, so if stress, the different hormones and the way that you're eating, all these things affect your gut And when that is disrupted and imbalanced, it affects our brain, it affects our mood. We have those neurotransmitters are disrupted, and we are not able to think properly. So we have all that brain fog. We're not making the best decisions on just health and overall. That can be in all sorts of different avenues.
Yeah, and I agree. I remember when I was super stressed, like not being able to think out of my way out of a paper bag. Like I was just like, and like, have you ever been super stressed or frantic or time crunched, and you're like looking for something like maybe like a pen in your purse, and it's like if you're frantic, you just can't find it. You need to just slow down and chill. And so there is so not only does it increase your weight, it decreases your ability to function. So stress is a huge part of that. So tell us a little bit about this 70-pound weight loss, and how did you manage that? Like, there's a lot of people listening in that are like, okay, yeah, I want to avoid the quarantine 15, but before I do that, I need to lose 70 pounds myself. But that seems so huge and overwhelming. And you might want to say to them, like, now's a great opportunity to focus on this, where you have, maybe you're restricted in where you can eat, and you are the only person bringing it into the house. Like, if you are the person bringing it into the house, you get a choice. So, and you might have maybe time where you could exercise, although maybe no motivation. So now they're left with like, all right, all my excuses are gone, so what can I do? So tell me, how did you make that decision or make those changes that worked for you?
Well, the first thing I had to start with was my own self, and decide that I was going to make this commitment to make a change. And then you take the steps forward. And like I said earlier, I thought I was, super busy and eating healthy and exercising. I could never stop moving. But there's the time where you do need to just step back, like you said, and even sleep. I like to say I slept it off. I did a lot of sleeping, and seriously, like for me, I know this about my body in the last several years, that cortisol, that fat that goes right around your midline in your belly. And shoot, I had a baby belly before I had babies, and to realize that is a cortisol, that's stress, and what you can do about it, and make those changes for that. So what I did was a lot of sleeping, and then making sure. There was another thing I like to say is I like to journal a lot, in the fact of whatever I put in my mouth, I have to write down. And growing up, just life happens, and I was an obese child, and dyslexic, very low confidence. And with that being said, when I have to write down stuff that goes in my mouth, it's way easier to write apple than it is lasagna. And just simple little tweaks, like it plays with my mind. I know it's kind of like a mind game, but it really made me accountable to myself. And that's where I made those little tweaks, ditch and switch, I like to call them.
Excellent. I love that. I know you're a big proponent of journaling and writing down, like a food diary, which is hugely important. Shout out if you are someone who has found food diaries to be helpful for you. And one of the things that I think for a lot of people is maybe they were really busy all day at work, for example, and didn't really get themselves organized enough. I mean, you've got 5 kids working as an x-ray tech, kind of, and nobody has any excuse. But let's just say that they haven't been able to fit in food diaries, because I'm one of those people that's like, I don't want to write it down. I don't want to write it down. But I think under these circumstances, now's kind of a good opportunity to say, hey, if it's going in my mouth, it's going to be written down first. And what it brings to that is mindfulness and consciousness, so that you're not like mindlessly eating. So I think that's really helpful. And then you can take a look at it and make it some determinations. And I know at you as a coach, it's really helpful to know where you can advise people, because sometimes they're eating some things that are like healthy, might be healthy for someone else, but not healthy for them. I think that happens a lot. Like some people can do whole grains, but some people cannot do any gluten, for example. And so it's a way of looking at, well, what are some of the things that are tripping people up inadvertently without them knowing? So why is this whole losing the 70 pounds, and is that kind of why you became a health coach? Is that kind of what inspired you to do the work that you do?
Yeah, it is. So once I lost that 70 pounds, I'm like, dude, if I can do it, I want to tell everybody else about some secrets that I know. So that's when I went back to school and studied up on all these different things. And in that time, I'm still, getting healthy myself and experimenting on different things. And I realized that gut health plays such a big role in who we are. It's just how it affects, like I said earlier, our mood, and how different environmental things affect us, the toxins in the air, and how it affects our gut, and how to get rid of that without and naturally. So those are things that I did to, experimented with myself, and now I help other people with that as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Every time I switch over mic, this phone or the Zoom is doing the thing here. All right, and we're going to be sharing some tips on what you can do, and we're going to be talking about a free group that you can join to avoid the quarantine 15. So stay tuned here and maybe grab a pen because we're going to be sharing some good stuff here in a moment. Tell me, obviously weight loss is the thing that I think most people hire you to help them with. You've got your own track record. You've helped other people with that. So that's why most people seek you out. Give some examples, like anonymously, of some of your clients maybe that, yeah, they lost weight, but there's some other benefits. Like I know that I remember a lot of people came to me because they wanted to lose weight, but they stayed because of other things that the ripple effect that happens. So just share some of those stories, maybe a couple, 2 or 3 or something like that.
Yeah. Well, a lot of us, just even women in general get hung up on a number on the scale. Mm-hmm. And a lot of my people that I helped is not just weight that they lost, but also inches. And then some of the ripple effects from that was they were able to lower their blood sugar into normal levels. One of my ladies that I helped, she had a lot of inflammation in her gut, and she was able to, with the nutrition changes, she was able to get off, per her doctor, off of all of her anti-inflammatory medications.
Awesome. Yeah, there is definitely a ripple effect, and in terms of, and kind of what we alluded to at the beginning there with energy, more mood, being able to be a better parent. Like I was a better parent when I was not foggy brained, and I could think clearer, and I was calmer and less reactive. I definitely noticed a difference when I cleaned up my diet, cleaned up my gut health. So yes, losing weight, but the spin-off benefits of improvement in relationships and energy is what keeps you sort of wanting to keep going, keep doing that. It's more than just a number. So excellent. So tell us a little bit about like how you. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna jump ahead to some of the tips. Let's just jump ahead to some of the tips, and we'll come back to things. So give us. Oh no, you know what I love? Sorry, I'm jumping around here, Rachel. I'm kind of like looking who's on and what they might want to hear. One of my favorite things that I love to hear from you, and your husband's a farmer, and so you have a really great perspective on gut health and a great analogy. And I really like that. And I know it's a message that's going through for your clients, and how you describe gut health and how it's important. So, talk about, your analogy of the gut and the garden, and a little bit about that and some things that affect your microbiome. And then we'll go into like some tips about what people can do.
Yeah. So I like to think of our gut is like a garden. And if you have a garden, you you weed, seed, feed, and protect it. And that's what our gut is. So if we weed, seed, feed, and protect it, we can be operating at optimal level. It can give us the best that it can give. Things that definitely affect it are stress, toxins, antibiotics, and just how your overall body balances and your hormones, and they can just really alter your microbiome. And what that does, the microbiome is a layer of defense so that in our gut, it helps us, it absorbs food, and then it also gets rid of the waste. And if it's working at its optimum, it's going to do just that. And so then it can keep us balanced. And if we just make sure that we properly hydrate it and give it the weed and the feed, which is those pre and probiotics, it's able to function very well. And in return on that spin-off, they're taking care of that gut. There's generally a decrease in weight and increase in energy and overall increased mood.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it is really all connected. Like your whole body is connected. And like, if anybody's ever been stressed, anybody, that that there's an impact on your body and some of the things that happen, and then it's like a vicious cycle. So some of the things that will happen when you're stressed, your body thinks you're in fight or flight, like you're running away from a tiger. So there's lots of things that will happen. Your pupils will dilate to try and take in more, and your airways will open up because you're going to be running from the tiger. And so you are in a short term, that helps you run away. But if you're at home in quarantine, you don't want that opened airway. You don't want to be taking in extra pathogens. You want to soothe that. So you don't want, when you're stressed, your blood flow will move away from your skin. It will vasoconstrict from your skin. It's kind of nature's way of saying, hey, if a tiger takes a swipe at me, I'm not going to bleed to death. So that might be great, except for if there is no tiger and you're actually in quarantine, then you might notice a rash, especially if you're washing your hands a few hundred times a day. You might notice like a skin rash because it's dried out and so it's moving away. So you're going to notice some of those things. And same with your gut. If you've ever had to do, I remember once getting no notice, like about half an hour notice. It was at a big event. Not super big. Like I've talked to thousands of people before, but I knew ahead of time that I was going to be talking to thousands and I was able to prepare what I was going to say. But one time as I walked into an event, I found out that I was going to be speaking in front of hundreds of people and I had no preparation whatsoever. So my body went into a panic and I immediately went to the bathroom. So there are phrases for what happens and it was going to come out one way or the other, but stuff is coming out. So clearly something that is an emotional thing. So I got stressed, a quick panic, like, and it all went fine and it was all good, but not without a trip to the loo. And so, my darling. So with that, it's like, okay, that emotion, that feeling has just impacted my gut. And my gut is saying, hey, we're not digesting anything here. We're running away from the tiger. Let's go into sympathetic, fight or flight. We're not going into this parasympathetic rest and digest phase. So your body is not set up for that. It's like, hey, we're not going to digest anything now. But if your panic is just all up here, and you are consuming food because it's dinner time and you're not digesting it, then you've disrupted things and you're not getting the nutrition that you should be. And so I really love your weed, seed, and protect it. And so that there's certain things that we can do, because what happens if you're still exposed to the stress? I can't take back that other person saying, hey, you're going on stage in very soon. And you're like, okay. Like I can't say, well, like, let's pretend that never happened. And much like us right now, we can't say, let's pretend there's not a pandemic. There is. So So it's there. So how do we adapt to it? And there's ways to nourish our bodies and weed, seed, and protect it. So get rid of the toxins. And I know that you do a lot of talk about toxins and how those can alter that, our defense system, our little army of our microbiome, and how it can disrupt that, so that we are letting things in that we don't want to and not absorbing things that we do want to. So it disrupts that balance. So that's a topic for a longer discussion in more depth at a later time. But you've got some really good, like, just, I think there's like 7 tips or something that are things that all of you can do today. So grab a pen and take some notes. So what are some things that you can do, that people can do right now to help them improve their gut health and actually lose weight in a healthy way in this time? So go through some of these things and we can talk about them as we go.
Yeah, well, I like to say these are some of the simple things, and it's simple to do or simple not to do. And the first thing I like to say is increase your water. So the healthy recommendation is to work up to at least half your body weight in ounces. And that will help prevent, or it'll help flush out those toxins, but it'll also help preventing us from eating the foods or drinking the stuff that we don't really want to have in our bodies anyway. And that just helps the overall hydration.
Yeah, I think that's great. It's crowding out of those sugary drinks or alcoholic drinks. So that's helpful. And then, you know, how we talked about our skin before, you know, hydrating, that's really great. And then, yeah, diluting those toxins, excellent. You know, if you are going to be consuming toxins, just kind of the way it is, even if you're all organic, it's still getting in there. So if we can dilute some of that, it's better. And I mean, you can feel, have you ever felt like when you drink a glass of water, like you can feel the mental clarity? It just clears the fog. It's just simple and it's easy, and it's something that we have available. If people have a computer available, they have water available. And so it's a simple thing. It's easy to do. It's easy not to do as well. So yeah, great point. What's your next one, Rachel? And feel free to, I'm going to ask you guys which ones you feel are your favorites. And also if you have any questions or anything there as well. I'm hoping that, I'm looking over at my screen and it's continually pausing. So I'm hoping that's just my computer and not you guys. I'm hoping you're with me, but all right. So what's your next one?
Food journal, like I told you earlier, I was one to like be the crazy woman and food journal everything. But it's a whole lot easier to just be aware. Like you said earlier, mindfulness, instead of, it takes kind of that mindless eating and just eating to eat. It helps us be accountable to ourselves. And then if you have someone working with you, they can also look over that and adjust that as well.
Yeah. Gail had said her lecture thing about great point about writing lasagna was more difficult than writing apple. And it's just easy. And you know what, just writing anything is harder than writing nothing. So if you make it just a rule, like you can eat what you want, but you got to write it down, it forces you to like look at that. And if each one, you know, even if you're having this cookie, then you're gonna have to write it again and again and again. And I think just being mindful, they've done studies, just keeping track of your finances helps improve your bank account, and just keeping track of your food helps improve your nutrition as well. Just keeping track of it is a helpful step. So I love that. And also, like there is sort of I know you talk about, and we've talked about, and IIN talks about bioindividuality, so things that are unique. And it's not uncommon for things to pop up that are uniquely harmful to people or uniquely helpful for people. Like they can have it and they're doing fine, and other things not so much. And it's a good way, if they track their food, that you can connect it with their mood or their, for example, I used to get sick with broccoli. Broccoli is a healthy superfood, anti-cancer. I write about it in my book, Doctor Up the Recipe. Like, it's a really healthy food, but I was doubled over in pain. So maybe not so much helpful for me. And it took a little bit to figure out that that's what was doing it. And so for people, I think that journal is helpful. And then for you as a coach, it's helpful for you to be able to guide them too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be the old-fashioned hand or, pencil and paper. There's so many out there that you can even voice message yourself, or, there's apps that you can get. There's so many different platforms that you can use for that.
Yeah, good point, because you make it easy for people, and it can't even be as simple as just taking a picture of everything you're eating. So yeah, it doesn't have to be like laborious. You have a system that you work with some of your clients that just makes it easy, and then it's more likely to get done. All right, what is your next tip, number 3?
Well, increasing some fiber. So those green leafy vegetables, or I like to say even eat the colors of the rainbow in different vegetables. And that really helps with the nutrition, but then it also helps with the fiber going through your gut, and it helps expel those waste.
Yeah, excellent. It's so good. Again, it decreases your risk of colon cancer. Like, it's just good on so many levels, and overall gut health is good for your overall health, including your brain health, and it's all connected. So yeah, more green leafy vegetables and get that fiber in. Excellent. All right, what's your next tip? Number 4.
Yeah, and sleep it off. Number 4 is sleep it off. Sleep deprivation increases cortisol, which then equals that belly fat. And for me, it was a big deal. So definitely sleep, and not just like to sleep to lay in bed and close your eyes and, but to get that really good deep REM sleep, and where you're doing that rest and repair in your body.
Yeah. Do you have any tips for that? Like, if people are like, well, I'd like to sleep, but I can't because I just can't fall asleep, and I know it's important. Now I'm stressed about not sleeping. So how do I get to sleep when I can't sleep? Any tips that you have to help people increase?
Yeah. There's several. For one, drinking something that is warm. So even just warm water or warm tea at night really helps with that. And then doing some deep breathing, and not hyperventilating breathing, but like deep breathing where it's continually, you're filling the bowl of your belly and holding it, breathing it out, inhaling good thoughts, getting rid of bad thoughts, and just meditating on what is important to you. Meditating, if you're a believer, meditating on those good things, and really staying focused.
Yeah, great tips. And of course, when you work with people, you have more customized things depending on, some people have a problem with that, some people don't have a problem with that.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think for me, I didn't have a problem sleeping. I had a problem getting to bed. It's like go, and but sleep for sure makes a difference. I have seen that, and there's studies that have shown people who have, and I forget the numbers exactly right now, but who have less than 7 hours sleep are more likely to be obese and diabetic, for that matter. And so sleep really does make a difference. There's a reason everybody needs to sleep. Everybody does. We try to think we don't. I especially am really good at that, trying to think I am a machine. But we need to sleep. It's an important part of our health. So a great point. And the resultant belly, if you do not sleep, is a good reminder. It's a good reminder of why we need to sleep. So there you go. All right, our next tip.
So tip number 5, which is going back to that whole garden analysis and analogy, and feeding our gut, those pre and probiotics. We had the fiber, and now looking at like fermented foods, which is really good bacteria in your gut. So examples like our sauerkraut, kimchi, kefir, kombucha, yogurt. One thing about yogurt is make sure you read your labels, because sometimes they pack it full of sugar. So you need to make sure you're looking at that.
Yeah. So foods, it's really interesting that in so many so many cultures, if you go back historically, they often have some form of fermented food. I always figure like that's a clue. It's interesting how they knew some of these things way back. So yeah, so pre and probiotics, excellent. And if you have questions, feel free to ask. And I'm going to ask you which one is your favorite tip in a moment. So keep track. And now, what's your next tip?
Yeah, decreasing sugar and processed foods. So backing it up, kind of think of it like reining it in and just going back to the basics. We're all pretty much cooking our own food unless you're ordering it out and taking it home now. But just really focusing on those whole foods and changing it up, doing the ditch and switch on those simple carbohydrates and turning them over into complex carbohydrates are really beneficial.
Yeah, I love your ditch and switch, like so that you swap out. It's not like you're saying, you know, you have I visualize the white plate with one little pea and that's your meal. Like that's not what we're talking about at all. It's just upgrading, up leveling. It's like when you buy a car, you're going to up level to something better. Well, you take your nutrition and you up level it to a better quality that gets you a better quality. And right now, more than ever, it is so important to up level your machine here into a better quality so you stay the heck out of hospital. You need to boost your immune system. You do not want to go to hospital right now. You do not want to go to hospital for anything right now. And some of you are working in the hospital or in the grocery stores like my son. And so you have to be out there. So there are things that you can do to improve your immune system. And so it improve your overall health and yeah, maybe lose a few pounds in the process too. So, all right, what's your last tip?
My last tip is tune into your gut and that brain connection. So when people used to say, I have that gut feeling, it really is a thing. We have a direct bloodline between our gut and our brain, which our gut sometimes knows before our brain knows. So listen to that. Some people are emotional eaters and trying to get rid of all their thoughts and moods and they're overeating on different things. Or it can go the other way. But I like the quote, face your stuff, don't stuff your face. However, that's easier said than done. So having a person that has a lot of support and is very important to you right now.
Yeah. It is a matter of leaning on supports, and sometimes some of our supports are not available because maybe it was some place we went to or someone we went to, and we can't right now. Now, the wonderful thing is with the wonderful world of virtual, you can connect with people face to face and support. Before we go into your free group that you're going to let people know about, which is going to be a lot of fun, and you're all welcome, you're all invited, and you get a free group, and you get a free group. I feel like Oprah. Just in case somebody is interested, how is it that you work with people? Like, did they have to come see you face to face, or like, what is it that, give us an idea of like what it would be like to work with you? And that's something different as an aside, but than what we're talking about this quarantine 15, but just kind of give people a glimpse into what that looks like.
Yeah, so most of my clients are busy moms or busy women, and I take them by the hand virtually and walk them through a 12-week program. It is a combination of an online learning platform, and I work very closely with them and mentor them, and I also have a small group support.
Awesome. Yeah, I know your clients get some amazing results and sing your praises. So you are the real deal, and you have such a wonderful and big, generous heart, and now is no exception. So tell them about this, stay lean and avoid the quarantine 15. This is a fun group that you've created. Tell us about that.
Well, this is like you said, a fun group. I started it a while ago, and we did a 21-day challenge, and it was just simple stay-at-home accountability, where you check in, and we had different things each week, different prizes each week. And so if you put yourself out there and put on the comment that you were active, that's all it was. It was simple. Got your name into the drawings, which I'm going to do again on this time. We're just going to up level it And we're going to have different recipes in there and different prizes along the way. So 21 days, and it starts today. So I'm pretty excited about it.
I love that. I mean, what a great, people generally have this, they need something else to focus on rather than some negative news and things like that. They have to be aware of what's going on, but it's really how wonderful to take, hey, let's 21 days, I'm going to focus on me and get clean and lean and do what I can to boost my immune system, maybe lose some weight in the process, or at least not gain it like most people are doing, and have a lot of fun, maybe win some prizes along the way. And it's free. It's free, right?
Yeah.
It's all free. And to have this amazing woman, guide you through this process. I mean, so I just want to thank you. I put the link in our comments here. So stay lean, avoid the quarantine 15, and it's with Rachel's Whole and Well Co. You have a website, wholeandwellco.com. And yeah, feel free to click there. If you can private message Rachel, or if you want to talk to her through me, you can do that as well. But I just think this is such a great opportunity. I know that there's some free offerings going around, and not only free, but you're giving away prizes. So I just want to commend you for just making it fun. And I heard some of the prizes that you were giving away last time, and you were collaborating with some really great people, and there's some good prizes in there, guys. So you definitely want to take part of it in it. And it's really fun to connect in a community that's all kind of thinking positively and moving forward in this way, because some of you might be feeling isolated. So just for the sisterhood, and men are welcome too, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, men are welcome too, but I think the majority happen to be women, and I think that is just a fantastic idea. So if this is something that you're interested in, you got nothing to lose, well, except for maybe a few pounds, but everything to gain. So if this sounds like something that would be fun, you'll learn things, you'll get a chance to have someone hold you accountable, and have a lot of fun, maybe you'll definitely learn some things. And yeah, well, any parting words before we go, Rachel?
Well, and like you were saying earlier, if you want to just have a conversation, make sure you put that in the comment, pick me type thing, and we'll get you connected up.
Awesome. Yeah, because I know that you're also offering, in the past, you've offered starter kits and free, and those new and improved starter kit that is coming out. And part of that is not only a diagnostic assessment, so that'll be coming out in the next few weeks, I think.
Yep.
So probably in this challenge, so you can do the diagnostic assessment, but then also have an opportunity, you're offering at this time, your time for free to go over some of the results of that with them. And so I just
absolutely,
now's a good time to take advantage of this, guys. So join in the free group, and if you have questions, post them here, but tag Rachel, because she'll answer your questions. And with that, I just want to thank you, Rachel, for taking the time to be with us today, sharing your wisdom with everyone. And for all of those who are listening, thank you for tuning in and sticking with us. And we wish you all the best, and stay safe, have fun, and most of all, be good for you.